Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We're live, and we've got a fun one for you. We're going to need you, the audience. We're going to need your participation because I think especially the first topic is a group effort. The topic title can be a little bit grab-tastic, get your attention, but I think it'll spark a great conversation. Leonardo DiCaprio flashes paparazzi and provokes reflection on our society. Following that up, boomers are the wealthiest generation and millennials are, quote, the biggest losers. And we're going to wrap the episode up with the largest U.S. water utility has been hit by a cyber attack. And that can only mean lovely things when the whole country is going to be underwater when it's attacked by double the size of the biggest hurricane we've ever seen. Can't wait. Buckle up. But with that being said, in the co-captain seat, I don't know, this guy's climbing all over the walls. He's everywhere. Give it up for Doug.
Hello. Yes, you just can't seem to get rid of me.
You're just everywhere. Soon, I'm worried about my throat.
Oh, I'm going to take over your job. No one is safe from me.
That being said, running the keys, joining us today is Marcus. Marcus, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Yo, good to have you. Marcus has become Mr. Reliable, and he keeps us honest. Like the last few episodes, there's like a whole nother generational perspective that we're missing, and that just is a big help for us. But also hanging in the wing, joining us today with the Pickle Gallery, we've got Silent Destroyer. Silent, how you doing today?
Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm doing great. How's everybody doing today?
Oh, great. Glad you're here. You're like King Sexy in the comments. Everybody's just like melting over you every week anymore.
Yeah, I got a lot of fans in the comments.
That being said, let's get this episode kicked off. All right, so the first topic of the day is how Leonardo DiCaprio was out here flashing the paparazzi, and it's sparking a great conversation. Now, it's probably not exactly what you were expecting, so sorry to let some hearts break here. But when I saw this clip, I thought it was fascinating. Now, Doug, being more in the LA and celebrity scene more than I am, he was like, yeah, no, this is the thing they do. To me, I was shocked by it, but here's a clip that came up from this past weekend of Leonardo DiCaprio leaving a club. This is fascinating. He's got his bouncer with like a special flashlight, and it prevents them from taking photos. The guy can just go from place to place.
Shame on you for PDD? Yes.
See you later.
See you later. I don't know. To me, that's pretty brilliant.
PDD.
Yeah, right? I mean, there's something to... You're not getting the picture. I mean, at the same time, so there's a balance to this dialogue. That's why I'm kind of excited to hear your guys' thoughts. And again, jump into the comments. I want to hear yours too, because there's a balance to this, right? You're only able to buy multiple multi-million-dollar houses because so many people adore you to such a degree that they buy your jerseys, buy your movies, support you. And, take it as somebody that can only sell 5 or 6 shirts. You sell 5 shirts, you can't get much farther. But if you sell 5 million, all right, now you're LeBron James. So the balance here is you don't have the wealth and the freedom without 5 million people wanting to wear your jersey, but that also comes with the headache of 5 million people wanting your jersey. Now, before we totally dive into the conversation, there's a dual edge to this, right? You should always support your fans because they're the only reason you're worth something. But the paparazzi is a totally different element, right? The paparazzi is, as Kanye calls them, the mosquito that's leeching off of everybody else's fandom and these people that are worth great talent. So who are the paparazzi? But at the same time, are the paparazzi not for anything else but a symptom of 5 million people wanting your attention? Like, these are people that are professional photographers. Do you think they love that they're taking 1,000 flash photos in a parking garage? I think they went into photography because they wanted to, I don't know, see New Zealand and the beautiful goats. Look at this mountain lion I took a picture of. And then they came to realize nobody really wants a picture of the mountain lion. That's already done. What they want is new tabloid photos of Kim Kardashian's thighs today. And so, like, now you've got a whole industry of probably professionals that regrettably take on the trade, not because they love chasing a 16-year-old Justin Bieber, but because the job is so much more lucrative than any other thing they could do with that hobby toy they have in their hand. I flip it to you. First, we'll go to Silent, then we'll go to Doug. Silent, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
I think it's crazy, and as you said, it's just part of being a celebrity is that you're gonna have paparazzi chase you. And to be fair to the paparazzi, it's also been known that a lot of celebrities call the paparazzi and anonymously tip off their locations just so they can create a buzz or create some sort of like
Get on the cover of a
chaos and
magazine.
atmosphere. And then, after that, get on the covers of the magazines, get articles written by them because it's free press, essentially, right? Like for the celebrities, it costs them nothing, just a bunch of annoyances and, disturbances and many, many flashing lights, flashing at them for like 5-10 minutes as they go from wherever they want to go to their car. But at the same time, there's a lot of paparazzi that are very cool and respectful, but there's also a lot of them, as Kanye said, to quote him, that are mosquitoes. And it's essentially one of those things that when you are a celebrity, like, that this is part of it. Just like how you have to go do press tours and you have to talk to the media and you have to do interviews. It's just part of being famous and part of being a celebrity is that you have to give up your privacy. Like, you have no more privacy. If you want to make tens of millions of dollars and become worldwide known and famous, you have to just give up your privacy. Unfortunately, that's just part of the game, and that's just how it is. Now, are the paparazzi wrong in this? Yes, definitely. But Leo also, right in doing this? I think he totally is. Like, if he wants to beat them at their own game, then so be it. There's a very famous jacket that Daniel Radcliffe back in the day used to wear that would also have the same effect to wear of him. It would reflect like just a blank sort of image in the cameras, and it was like
I remember those
he developed. And then there's also them that just wear the same outfit over and over again, and then people think that it's the picture, the same picture, even though it's on a different day, but it's the same outfit.
Yeah, then it makes it harder for those.
So then it makes it harder
to sell and use them.
Exactly.
Yep.
And use
I've
them.
heard that.
So there's a lot of like ways to counter the paparazzi, and I think Leo has just come up with a very creative way here, and it's clearly working for him because they were very pissed off at him. So
what do you think of this whole thing?
Well, weren't the paparazzi responsible for Princess Diana's death?
Yeah, that's a huge element to this.
So,
well, I mean, that's what the lizard people behind the crown tell us, but that's a whole nother story.
I mean, as long as they're staying on the sidewalk and not driving their car at unsafe speeds next to them, trying to get a picture in the middle of a tunnel. All right, that's your job. You do it. Same time, they want to make their own flashing light. Nothing wrong with that.
I kind of think that's a brilliant idea.
And the Marvel uses those on their movie sets.
Wait, but I just want to throw one thing out here while it comes flashing in my mind. So let's say you make a habit of that. I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm like, I'm sick of all the paparazzi shots. I'm going to have my bouncer who's following me anyway, every time use the, paparazzi reflectant flashlight. Okay. But guess what? Now you've made it so much harder for a Leo photo that now the price ticket to hunt your ass down is even you're turning yourself even
Very
like,
good
at
point.
some point it's just be Mr. Mayor, be a man of the people, walk around, shake the hands, take the pictures. You know, there was a couple here's what's funny. The amount of people that when they're asked, hey man, what do you think of the Diddy sitch? Because they're like, the closer they are to the situation, and the more they're like, can't talk, no comment, run right through the interview or whatever it is. They keep marching. But you know who water off the back of a duck? The folks that are like, yeah, I think it's weird. Who knows if more people are going to go down, but it's probably just the beginning. I don't know. See you later. And just go into the restaurant. That's the end of it for them. They look good. Any press is good press. And now going back to the heart of the point I was getting at is if you're unapproachable and you've got a flashing light everywhere you go, there is going to be such a hunt for you that things like this are going to occur. So I want to make the balance of the dialogue of paparazzi. So it's cool that Leo has this new little, I don't know, approach. But like you said, I guess it isn't too new if Daniel Radcliffe had like cool coats and stuff. But here's like Miley Cyrus, right? This is a
Miley.
Whoa. Are you serious? You go calm down. You just hit my mom.
I didn't hit your mom.
Yeah, you just ran into
I'll
my
never
mom with your
disrespect your
camera.
mom.
You just ran into my mom with your
Mom,
camera.
that would never disrespect
Don't
your
you
mom.
ever do that again.
I
You
would
just
never
almost hurt my mom.
I
Don't
never
you ever
disrespect
even
nobody.
think about it. For real.
That's how you gonna disrespect me?
crazy.
It was obvious. I don't think you
You hit my mom.
I never disrespect your mom like that.
I mean, good for her.
Miley, you have any comments about your dad, Miley?
No, but I do have a comment. I got down all your license numbers and my security's on it right now. You guys are
Oh, really?
completely inappropriate. Completely.
About to be nice.
You're not, no, you're not. You're so rude.
Right. I'd be curious to know what happened prior to this, like maybe going into wherever she's at or something, but you know, this might be a little much.
Get away from my car. Thank you.
Obviously seemed like a different day.
sorry, Miley. Sorry.
Oh, it is.
This is like a
Anyway,
compilation.
we love you.
There's one
Thank
more
you.
after this that is like the more interesting. She straight up goes to him.
Dude.
This is an interesting back and forth.
Can you guys come here? This is f***ing disrespectful and rude. I just got back from being in f***ing Haiti, dude. And I'm trying to enjoy my day. You got a picture now. Huh?
I hear that. No, I understand you. I just, you passed by us, and I mean.
Right, and I'm going back to my f***ing house. You're not going to get a picture right now. I'm going through gates. I'm going to my parents' house. It's not going to. You're not going to be getting any pictures. The neighbors are already pissed. The neighbors have called and complained because of you guys and everyone sitting on my street. It's just.
You've never seen me before. I guarantee
I've
you
seen
that.
these f***ers.
Okay, but
And I'm guessing you guys are a team because I see you guys all hanging down at the
No,
bottom.
we
of
were
the
waiting
hill.
on Ryan Gosling, so you passed by. I mean,
Ooh, Ryan Gosling was close to me. That's nice.
Ooh.
Just kidding.
so
Now you, girl.
I mean, no disrespect, I just wanted to get.
But your job is disrespectful.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you got a
Your
picture
job
now.
is
They got a picture
disrespectful.
now, so can you leave me on my way? And they're still filming, dude. You don't want this. You don't want this for your f***ing life, dude. It's fucking.
Interesting, right? So going to degrading his lifestyle. I don't know. Some would say it's called for. Some would say this is a guy just trying to make a buck. But then like this one's a classic, reaching way back in the past. Tobey Maguire. This one's a classic.
You're messing up You're messing up my fighting sensor.
This guy goes all the way around the car, which is so goofy.
I want to be a Spider-Man before Toby. Toby.
Let him go. You can't see.
We got you blocked.
Let him go. You can't see. You can't block him in, guys.
It's against the law.
So bad I didn't cut it.
You guys need
You're
to
great.
back
Hey,
up.
some
I
of your
can't
kids
see
are
the cars.
Okay, back up, guys. You can't see the car.
They got hit the fuck out of the way.
Then he hits
I
him with the
can't
door?
see. There are cars there, motherfucker. Get out of the way.
They're stopped for you, dude. We're blocking the cars for you.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
All right, I just want to point out like one piece. Like listen,
You guys need
You're
to
great.
back
Hey,
up.
some of
I
your
can't
kids are
see the
stopped for you.
cars.
Okay, back up, guys. You can't
back up, guy.
They got hit the fuck out of the way. I can't see.
Just
I want to be a
before.
Spider-Man before Toby. Toby.
Listen to the.
You can't see.
We got you blocked.
Let him go.
Let him go. He can't see. We
like
got
other
him blocked.
people are telling them that. Yeah, like the people that actually care about doing their job at least right.
We can't legally block him in, guys.
Let him go. You can't see. You can't block him in, guys. It's against the law.
It's against the law.
You guys need to back up.
And then we wonder why he snaps immediately after, right? Here is again the classic. This is the one. This is the one we get excited about.
Oh yeah, my favorite one right here.
I don't know this one.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Shut the fuck up.
Hey, Kanye, I met Jim Kimmel.
Oh yeah.
Do you have anything to say about Jim Kimmel, Kanye? Do you think he was?
I think we got to do that one more time. You know, I cut a little bit of the front off because I didn't want to. You guys have like mosquito brain attention, so I got to go right into it. But this guy sits outside of Kanye's car for like a solid 40 seconds at least prior to this point. And Kanye's just sitting in the car.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Shut the fuck up.
Hey, Kanye, I met Jim Kimmel. Do you have anything to say about Jim Kimmel, Kanye? Do you think he was too much with you? Hey, you met Jim? I met Jim Kimmel, Kanye.
Look at this.
Too much with you?
Yeah, and you can. I was thinking the same. I'm like, can he just go into the garage?
And then look,
and then
do you
the
hear
sensor
the?
triggers.
Do you hear the? No, he holds it.
Yeah, he
Is
holds
that what
it.
it was?
He
I
holds
would have
it.
thought
Yeah.
sensors.
Listen to the garage. He holds it.
Jim Kimmel, Kanye, do you think he was too much with you? Hey, you met Jim? I met Jim Kimmel, Kanye.
Not my garage.
How's it going, Kanye?
Don't say anything to me, man. Like, stop asking me questions. You out in front of my house at 4 a.m.
That's
Come out,
wild.
how's it going? It's not going good. Y'all here trying to take money out to make money off us. That's how it's going. It's 4 a.m.
There is something about that. Like, what are you doing here? You're here to make money off of my existence. Just me being at 4 a.m. Like, at the same time, like, if this is a job, like, it should have the respect of like job hours. But at the same time, there are morning birds and there are night owls. And it's like, I'm just out here bird watching. I'm
Plus,
a photographer.
Don't all the fun stuff happen after midnight? You know?
Ask Diddy.
4 a.m. and you ask me how it's going. You know I don't want you to say nothing to me. You hear what I'm saying? Respect that.
Relax.
Now, what you mean relax?
I did nothing to you.
What you mean? What you mean relax?
You're on his street,
Like,
man.
In his
You're on his street. I don't did nothing to you, man.
We're doing a
they
fight.
definitely were when they were in his garage.
Kanye.
Yeah,
Change all
like,
this.
Come on,
that
Kanye.
can't be legal.
You know we
Even
like
in
you.
Shut the fuck up.
The garage piece, like getting on the driveway, why? That's part of the problem is there's probably so much of this. They can only police so much. And these guys know how to take advantage of it and push the envelope. Like, what you think Kanye's going to sit around and wait for a cop to come to take a police report to try to get a hold of the paparazzi that did this whole thing? No. But at the same time, this guy, kudos to him, because now he's got like a iconic moment.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Shut the fuck up.
Hey, Kanye.
I wonder how much he got off of just like that part alone right there.
yeah.
Probably made him pretty penny.
Which is the most Kanye moment ever. So here's the balance, right? I want to take into account, like, when you're just trying to buy a cup of coffee and you're getting bombarded, right?
Are you WWE in it?
Yes.
Wow, whoa.
Okay.
Nice to see you. I'm with John Cena, WWE.
Oh, that's Modine. He streams on King.
Why is that you? Or?
No, thank you for asking to take a video.
Oh,
Very
sorry. Sorry about that. Whoa, John Cena, bro. You know the WWE, whatever, WWC. Yeah. Take care, bro.
Yep.
I got some advice for you.
Yes. Be respectful.
All right, I'll be respectful.
That's
But
my advice for you.
my
I
name.
ask if you can take a video, but you're just shooting video.
No, you know
So
me.
maybe be
I'm
respectful.
famous.
I don't want to talk to you.
I'm famous. I'm Modine.
It doesn't matter who you are. You don't treat anyone with respect.
All right,
How
I'll
famous
respect
are
you.
you? You've got to say your own name.
Yeah, John Cena doesn't need to say
he
John
doesn't have to
Cena's name.
introduce himself.
I mean, there's something to that. But again, he's a streamer. He's famous to streamers. And
Exactly.
how goofy is it for you to like, you know, he's doing his job. You're famous because you do yours. His job is that he's on Kick and doesn't turn it off. He's not going to like turn it off just to go, hello, John Cena. Do you mind if John Cena, you know more than anybody. That's the risk you take going into public. But on, I don't want to take away from like a strong moment. He holds it. He carries himself well, which is always the class act that surrounds John Cena.
Thank you for asking to film my video and then filming the entire time I'm in the store. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do.
I'm a Speaker's Corner,
I don't care.
London.
I don't care.
I help people.
Thank you very much for being respectful.
I swear, if you need anything, just let me know.
So while I come out here and make the position that like, hey, he could have been a little bit more respectful, a little bit more patient, but I also respect just wanting to get a cup of coffee. And it feels like you're not plugged into the world of Kick and streaming. And it feels like a guy literally filmed your entire experience, like never turned his camera off the entire time you were in there. And it's because he was. You just don't realize what his job is or what he does. Aside from that, though, John Cena covers up this point very well, or addresses this point, not directly, but generally speaking. This is a clip that I kind of have remembered. I was like, man, this is perfect for this topic. He was recently on Club Shay Shay, addressing being famous, addressing this balance of like, hey, recognize why you're here, but that doesn't make it really any easier, and you just got to learn how to deal with it.
How have you been able to deal with fame? Because you're known, you're global, you're known the world over. And sometimes when you're out with your wife, you just want to have a nice, quiet evening. You don't get very many of those. And then, John, can I get a picture? John, can you sign an autograph? Hey, John, hey, this is my brother on FaceTime. Say hello to my brother. Can you wish my wife happy birthday? It's our anniversary. How do you deal with that?
So that's been a journey. And man, my wife is tremendous with that because she understands it. And again, I just talked about the kit. You buy a kit, you get a kit, not a real one. Find out what you want. If what I want is privacy, don't go out. Stay in. And if you want to go out, guess what? All this fun work that you get to do, a lot of that job is public service and public relations. And these people aren't coming up to me and like, yo, I want to fight you. No one's really coming up being like, I fucking hate you.
Right.
Everybody was like, no, I just want to say hi. Their candor sometimes might be a little, it's not what I would see is,
right.
But I don't blame them. So I try not to blame them. Now, I'm not perfect. Sometimes especially when I'm going for a morning coffee, I need the coffee before I can be like, hey, what's up? But I also know that when I leave the house for coffee, I'm leaving the house. It's part of the work. And in wrestling, travel. Jeez, I wish every game was a home game.
Yes.
The travel in sports is tough.
Yes.
But it's part of the work. This is part of the work. And you know what I get to do for my job? Dress up. So like dress up and be imaginative. It's not that those moments aren't hard. And it's not that, and I think overall people are aware. I'm sorry to interrupt you. They know what's going on.
Right.
But damn it, they're shooting their shot. Life just gave them an opportunity. They're taking it.
Probably never going to see John Cena again.
I would like to hope that if there's ever been an interaction where somebody walks away gnarly from our interaction, they understand that maybe like wasn't a good time to take that opportunity. We're all human. But I also would like to think that I got more good interactions than bad ones because I really try to be conscious of, first of all, I would be nowhere without that person.
Correct.
And I'll go to places and people are like, yo, do you want me to stop people from coming over? I'm like, they're the reason I can sit here. So no, because man, let's get everybody. I'll say hi to 80 people and then we can all go about our meal and everything's fine.
Right.
But normally people are respectful. They're excited, and it only takes a few seconds. The biggest thing is like, if I'm going to the bathroom, that's tough.
And he goes on further, but it's like, yeah, know the time too and how to do it. Like when we took the Rethink tank to LA, right? We had the show and flown out to LA. One of the nights we're at Nobu and there's Jamie Foxx. And it's like, that's Jamie. First off, the people we were with, that was just like another Tuesday. But for me, it was like, we're literally having Wagyu mini tacos that are a bite, and they're like $75 a bite. I wasn't paying. But you're sitting there and you're like eating this gourmet food, and there's Jamie Foxx. You're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And they're like, nah, this is just a Tuesday. And I only say, like, the guy I was with was like, just go say hi. Like, don't go bombard him. Don't pull out your phone. You're never going to remember this moment with a picture, but you can have a memory where you have a real interaction with somebody that you idolize or appreciate. Go up to him, shake his hand, be like, thank you for everything you do. And, I appreciate your work. And, you've had a real impact on my life or my family's life, and just give him some kind words. And it was a great interaction. He let me talk to him for like 5-7 minutes, and it felt like forever. Good back and forth exchange. Dude looked fresh as hell. This is before they removed him and then, switched him out with a clone. But it was awesome. It was awesome. And it's on both sides, right? Like, while I hold the idol in a position where there's an expectation of knowing, appreciate the fans, and with that, appreciate the paparazzi, because they're a symptom of you having fans. On the flip side, us as fans need to know how to appreciate these people safely and effectively. Like, we shouldn't be defending or appreciative of paparazzi that, are putting Tobey Maguire in a dangerous place where he can't even pull out of his space. Marcus, what you got for us?
The same thing happened to me. Like, I met Kyrie.
Try to keep the microphone like a fist from your mouth.
Yeah. So the same thing happened to me before. So me and my family, we were at like Dave and Buster's or whatever. And by the time we were leaving, that my mom was like, that was Kyrie and all that. I'm like, oh my God. I gotta go back because, like, why not? It's Kyrie, best day of my life. He won the championship for us. Like,
for real.
Like, I have to meet him. Went over there. I'm like, hi, Kyrie, and whatever. He said, what's up, young man? How you been? By the way, J.R. Smith was with him too.
Hey, did he have a shirt on or what?
Huh?
Did he have a shirt on?
Yeah.
Oh, lame. That probably wasn't him then.
I think I don't know, but I had my Kyrie's on and everything.
Hey,
man, I was so mad because I didn't even ask him for an autograph.
Well, I would have.
Oh, I would.
But I got a picture, but I didn't get it from my mom though.
Hey, bad. There you go. I'm glad you walked us down that road, because I was worried about whether or not if I should walk it. But we're gonna. LeBron is like the worst person ever.
Oh, he was terrible.
Don't like LeBron in any way. And what's great about being somebody from Cleveland is you'd be surprised how many people that have real interactions, that have met this asshole in real life. And you'd be amazed how many of them don't have good things to say about him. On the flip side, you've got somebody like Dwight Howard, who definitely is spending late nights with, guys in dresses, and that's fine. We love all people, but he's a weird dude. I don't care. I'll still always have a piece in my heart that just loves Dwight Howard, because I have a person. One, I could bore you if I must with the story of LeBron. I having a personal story with LeBron being an asshole.
Same.
I can tell
Same.
Boom. Like, it's like a Cleveland staple. Everybody thinks Cleveland loves LeBron. We don't. All the Clevelanders have a personal life situation of LeBron being a real life asshole. So on the flip side, Dwight Howard, not being from here, Dwight Howard kicking our ass in the playoffs before LeBron ditched us to go, hang out with the honeys in South Beach. We're playing the Magic. Dwight Howard's the king of the team. My dad worked in this building across the street from the Ritz where all of the players stayed. All of the players were coming out and would get on the bus to go to the game. I'm across the street, and you couldn't stand on the Ritz's property, but I could stand on my dad's, where he works, property, and then we'd run across the street and get autographs when they'd come out. And a lot of the guys of that time, they were great. They take pictures, sign autographs, whatever. Last one, they're waiting forever. They're kind of running late. Out comes Dwight Howard in this fresh white suit. Now, what's funny is I would tell this story all the time. And I've probably told this story since I was 10 years old.
I've heard it
12 years
times.
old. And that being said, now that we know, time is a funny lens that shifts and changes. With that, this story is a little goofy. But when he comes out, he looks fresh as fuck in this white suit. And I go, that's a cute suit. And he goes, whoa, hey, man. Don't be telling other brothers that they got a cute suit. Someone might assume something. And I'm like, all right. It was funny. It had everybody laughed. Like, ah. And then, again, 11, 12 years old, I shake this giant man's hand. And his hand just dwarfed me to the nth degree. I grab his hand. Now, mind you, a movie of the time was Shallow Hal, fresh off the press. This movie, Shallow Hal. Me being a young, impressionable mind, there's a scene where Shallow Hal at the beginning shakes this like motivational speaker's hand in an elevator, and he says, "It's like grabbing a bunch of bananas." I don't know why that sat in my head, but like it found its utility here because this man was huge. And so when I shake his hand, I go, "It's like grabbing a bunch of bananas." And he goes, whoa, listen, man. You're telling guys that they got cute suits, and you're talking about grabbing bunches of bananas. Like, you're walking a fine line, and it's like, now knowing what we know, it's like, you're the only one thinking that way.
Your dad must have been so proud.
Oh, no, he wasn't, of course. You know him. Like, stop. You're making me look stupid in front of athletes, superstars. But I pose that balance. You know what? It's worth the discussion. On the flip side, there's LeBron. And my personal story, because Doug, I'd actually like to hear yours. My personal story is there was Will Smith promoting his movie 7 Pounds. And for the movie, they had in our local theater in Valley View, they were doing this huge premiere. So they had a red carpet and everything, like a few months before the movie came out. And so regular local people could go and see this movie in the early premiere if they donated a can of food. So, of course, it pretty much being free tickets, they were snatched up instantly, and you really couldn't get tickets. I mean, people were waiting overnight for like multiple days. It just wasn't happening. I'm in 9th grade. I look at my friend and I'm like, hey, man, like, we're not going to go to the movie. But first off, Zach and Murray Make a Porno just came out, and we could try to get somebody to buy us tickets to that. We could try to sneak into that. But also, there's going to be a lot of famous people there. We should just, at our local theater, like, we should just try to go there and see what happens. So we go to the theater, and of course, LeBron's there, not with the lady who, unwedded, still has children with him at this time. It was some other white girl, honey. And, hey, we all have our fun, but he goes in. Will Smith is obviously the man of the hour. And so he comes in. It's this big, huge, crazy thing. The fun story from that day was it's the middle of the winter, and there's this big fat lady. She has her coat under her arm, and she sneaks into this back room for press. And again, in 9th grade, I was like tiny. So I jumped under this lady's coat, and I'm pretty confident she probably knew I was there. And I snuck into this room and got to Will Smith. And, he's doing like this press at the front of the room. And I just jumped out and I was like, can I get a picture and an autograph? And the security started ripping me away. And they were like, whoa. He goes, whoa. If this kid was able to make it in here, he gets his picture. And with the iPhone 1, I take a selfie. He signs my pad of paper, and they take me away. So I get kicked out. We go to some guy, ask him if he'll buy us tickets to go see Zach and Murray Make a Porno. They say no. So we get afraid to do that again. And we buy Batman, which was across the hall. We scope it out. All right, Batman, it's across the hall. We bought a Batman ticket, snuck across the hall. When this movie was over, about 25 minutes before that, the movie finished. So of 7 Pounds. So we get out, and it's pretty much totally cleared out. Like now all the hype, all the press, all the people are kind of gone. And my buddy needed to go to the bathroom, and I'm standing in the lobby with his mom. There is quite literally nobody else in the lobby. It is just like totally empty. You can see a tumbleweed come through. We're sitting there, and LeBron comes out again with the nice honey, and there's not a soul, but little old, 14-year-old me, 13-year-old me. And I run up to him and I go, Mr. James, can I please get your autograph? He puts his hand on her and stops her, leans over me, gets as close as he can to my face and goes, ha, yeah, no, not today, kid. And walked right through me and kept going.
Similar.
Won't ever forget that. What's your story?
Similar story. So this is like a year after we drafted him. So he's like new into Cleveland and 19 probably. My dad somehow got tickets to some Mercedes-Benz event where LeBron was going to be there to take pictures, do autograph, and there was like free food and stuff. It was at some opening of a Mercedes dealership because at the time, I don't know if they still are, Mercedes was like a sponsor of the Cavs. Like they had the Mercedes-Benz club.
Yeah.
And so like we go and we're waiting in line and like I ask him for like an autograph and he just looks at me and goes, no, and then turns around and proceeds to start signing all the young African-American kids' autographs. And so I wait there for like 10 minutes and my dad goes, excuse me, sir, can he get your autograph? And he just ignores my dad altogether.
And again, some would say that's when he was young, he's learned.
That's what my dad likes.
I was going to drum up more. It just happened at the Olympics. Like this is like a live. This is his livelihood. This is what he does. And at the same time, maybe he doesn't. That's the beauty of sports. You don't need to be a brand like Michael Jordan. You don't need to be. You could be like Iguodala or whoever and just be absolutely despised. But Green. You could be like somebody that's just totally despised. But as long as you have the talent, you'll still be able to bring home the bag. But if you're John Cena, Leonardo DiCaprio, or like Danny DeVito, most people could throw you. So like the only thing you have is the fact that all these people love you or your brand or your product, your talent. And you got to kind of give back to that. So let's get to our wrapping thoughts. Silent, what are your wrapping thoughts on the whole deal? Like the way I'm going to present it to you is we clearly all agree you got to respect the fans because that's the only reason you're worth something. But the major focus of this conversation was the paparazzi. Leonardo DiCaprio has come out with this paparazzi repellent. On the flip side, though, the only reason there are paparazzi is because you're worth money. You have value. So I don't know. What are your wrapping thoughts?
I think John Cena said it really well in the Shay Shay podcast. It's part of being a celebrity, as I said earlier as well, too. Like part of being famous is that this comes with the territory of being famous. You have to expect that when you leave the privacy of your house or the privacy of the studio or the work or the office or whatever, you have to be prepared that there are going to be people that will want to say hi to you, that will want to take pictures of you, that will want to bombard you with questions. That's just part of it. And if you don't want to be part of it, just like John Cena said, just stay at home. It's very simple. And as much as I hate to say it, yes, the paparazzi are basically leeches and they are making money off of your image. But at the same time, you probably wouldn't even be as famous as you are if it weren't for the paparazzi writing articles about your McLaren SLR at 3 a.m., and your Lambo and whatever other cool cars that you have or whatever else you're up to. Because at the end of the day, if it's not for them also giving you the press, you wouldn't be as famous as you actually are.
Right. So Doug, I'm going to flip it to you before I close it out here. What are your wrapping thoughts?
I guess as long as they're not being dumb, like blocking cars or causing an accident or I don't know, breaking someone's garage door, whatever. If that's how they make money. At least they're doing a job and contributing at least somehow to society. So whatever. But if they're being jackasses, yeah, well, We'll have to see. We haven't had a Princess Di type of paparazzi related death in the United States, So if they are directly ever linked to a death of someone real popular, we might even have some changes in our country on that.
Well, I agree. Wrapping it up here, I think the biggest takeaway that we haven't really touched upon is how much, or highlighting how it is too much value we put in these idols, these false idols. Like, what is a celebrity? In grade school all the time, there were so many, outrageous, worthless celebrities that even just as a grade schooler, I would say all the time, if gravity stopped working for Kanye, Kim Kardashian, and LeBron and Beyonce, if all this gravity stopped working for all the celebrities, the world still moves on tomorrow. But if gravity stops working for the teachers, the nurses, the mechanics, the doctors, the lawyer, engineers, we don't get to continue tomorrow. So the bigger piece is acknowledging how we as a society give way too much attention and value into the things that, quite frankly, are like cancers to us, and they don't pose any true benefit. Silent calls them leeches, and I'm resistant to do that. And it's because look at the world you've created, right? Like, because you have a major label and 12 other people attached to that, managers and producers that just are investors, these people, now that you have to share the pot of money with so many people, like, guess what? If the Rethink Tank were to ever make $1, well, it just comes to us. We can cycle it back into this, or put it in our pocket, do whatever we want with it. But it comes to us. Whereas, Kanye's money isn't just going to Kanye anymore. He may be able to negotiate a higher chunk of it going to him, but so much of it is going to the label, the producer, all these investors.
But a lot of these people now have their own label, and that's how a lot of people have gotten around. Like, a lot of these people, if they get big enough, they end up making their own label so that they get all their own money.
Okay, so Kesha leaves, creates her own label. Doesn't matter that. Okay, so now what did you do? You're not the talent, you're the label owner. So guess what? When Kanye was making money and a label owner was making money off of that, Kesha just became that label owner. She's just making money off of somebody else. It's different out, same outfit, different person wearing it. So that's a moot point, because truly where I wanted to take this point was, look at the world they've created with all these copyright laws. Like, you can't just remix a song anymore like you used to. Back in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, a remix was taking a vinyl record and, switching it up and creating your own new beat and creation. But then lawyers got involved, and then decades of lawyers got involved to where precedent is created, and the pool of free content for all of us to play with got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So as somebody in the content creation space, if Getty Images owns every image under the sun, what have you done to me? You've created a world where with my iPhone, I got to catch a picture of your ass. So you either need to turn back your lawyer dogs and create a more free media world and mediascape for all of us, to where I don't need to hunt down your ass for my picture, that as long as I change it enough. And again, that's what the law is today. But where that standard is, changing it enough, it's gotten so high that it's almost impossible. I don't have Google, Disney, Apple, Diddy Studios pockets. I don't have pockets that deep. I can't compete with their lawyers. I say that because you've now created a space where I got to catch I want to catch you in a quick interview snippet talking, because then I can use that audio, clip it up, do whatever I want with it. I want a video of you or the scene that you're in, because and here's the truth. I'm going to go full-blooded American on you. Sorry to do it, but the truth is I have the freedom to do that. That is the freedom of public spaces. So like Silent highlighted again, doubling back to John Cena, if you don't want to be caught in public spaces, don't go out in public. And guess what the cost of 3 yachts and 7 homes is? A lot of people want to take pictures of you in public. Public gets a little less comfortable, but you can do so much more in public. Let me give you one last example when we close this whole bad boy out. When Dave Chappelle left out of here and went to Africa because the system's after him and he needs to take a hiatus, he's gone. And in the middle of it, this is 2016, 15, yeah, somewhere in there. We're in Punta Cana. This is maybe a year or so, not too long into Dave Chappelle's hiatus. We're in Punta Cana. There's this excursion deep in this Amazon jungle with this like ice crystal pond. And, the family would go on this crazy ATV trip out there. We swim in the pond and we're walking back through the jungle. It's like 40-minute walk through the jungle back to the ATVs. We're walking back and here comes this crowd. And I look at I go, hey, is that Dave Chappelle coming towards us? You would have thought I said a foreign language. Like nobody even knew, registered with nobody. And I go, Mom, Dad, is that Dave Chappelle coming at me? That was dumb. They don't know who the hell that was. And I was like, oh my God. I turn around to my sister. I go, Alice, is this Dave Chappelle? She goes, what? Who? And I just turn around and go, hey, it's Dave Chappelle. Because now he's like right in my face. He stops. He leans right into me. He goes, shh. Come on, man. Ain't nobody supposed to know I'm here. And he just keeps walking. And I'm like, that was the greatest thing ever. So I say that because it's like, you don't know where you're going to be at in the world. And guess what? If you don't want millions and millions of people finding you and maybe just that one random kid from Ohio, you got to go leave.
Hey,
leave. You're not going to be bombarded when you're in Punta Cana.
He lives in Ohio, too. He should be happy to see another Ohio boy.
Unfortunately for me, Doug, I don't have Ohio tattooed across my forehead, so it's kind of hard for him to really nail that point down.
Oh, shucks.
That being said, we still have 2 more topics.
Yeah, this one I thought would be our lighter one, but you took it
personal.
Yeah.
So, the next topic here is how boomers are the wealthiest generation that's ever lived, and millennials are the biggest losers thanks to the economic crisis. I've been ranting a lot. I need a little sip of water. Okay. Baby boomers are the wealthiest generation to have ever lived. A new report from So a new report has found that this affordable housing and strong equity markets provided huge returns on savings. Millennials, on the other hand, have had the biggest losers experience in this wealth race, courtesy of crisis after crisis. The company's 2024 Global Wealth Report reveals a unique historical situation, strong economic growth, affordable housing markets, and booming equity markets allowed boomers to build up a handsome fortune, wrote the insurance and asset management giant in its report released this past Tuesday. Meanwhile, millennials have been saving since 2008 and its financial crisis, through the COVID pandemic, and now a period of really painful inflation. This has meant the returns they got on their squirreled away funds have been significantly lowered than those of previous generations, and the total nest egg they've saved during their lifetime is significantly less impressive. In this report, it modeled a handful of hypothetical individuals across generations, tracking their savings returns and corresponding wealth throughout their respective economic cycles. A U.S. boomer born in 1960, for example, with an annual savings rate of 10% over 40 years, will have generated a lifetime savings of more than 850% of their disposable income. An American Gen Xer, meanwhile, who is saved at the same levels, will now have a fortune worth 606% of their disposable income with an annual return rate of 6.7%. But even a gap of 200% between boomers and Gen X looks attractive compared with the deal millennials got. Millennials born in 1984 or more or sooner have saved at the same rate as their parents' generation will see their total lifetime nest egg amount to just over 430% of their disposable income. Of course, millennials still have a couple of decades to keep topping up their savings while they continue to work. Even then, this report suggests they will never accumulate the same levels of wealth as boomers themselves, netting 670% of their disposable income within their lifetime. Gen Zers, the youngest generation entering the workforce, fare better than their millennial peers, but not as well as the oldest generation. American Gen Zers born in 2004 can expect their total savings to amount to 766% of their disposable income in 2063, surpassing both Gen X and millennials if Camel Lady doesn't win. That being said, even with the same savings behavior, no generation can match the wealth accumulation enjoyed by the baby boomers, also found in this report. So I flip to you, Doug. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
we're feeling it.
Like when I like first started working, you know, I was making whatever salary they started me at the company I was at. You know, my parents were like, "Oh, well, you know, we only started off at like 25,000 in 1980." Well, like, you know, there's all these inflation calculators that you can see, like, what would that amount be worth in today's value dollars, or like the buying power of it then versus now, you know, and it's like, you know, you take $25,000 in 1980, what is it like in today's dollars? And it's like $60,000 salary, you know, like the and then the cost of houses, you know, our parents bought a house a fraction of what, like, you know, they have now that our parents live in. Like my parents' first house, small. Honestly, I'd see it as like $150,000 house. They bought it for like 100,000, sold it. They sold it back in the day for like 150. It's now worth like 350,000. My parents' house is now like way more than they paid for it. It's just like out everything. My mom refuses to buy a new car, even though she wants one, because she's waiting on 0% interest, like 0% interest on the car. She's like, you know, back in the day, you know, I used to just be able to get 0 interest and I would just pay the minimum every time because it didn't matter. There was no interest. I'm like, that's not happening. Like 0.9 is the best I've seen in the last few years. Like it's not going to get back down to 0. And so like all these things are different from what it was when our parents were hell, McDonald's, like you remember dollar menus when there actually were dollar menu items?
You know, it's funny you bring that up because there's this thing called the McDonald's index. We actually referenced it on an episode in the past, and there's an annual report by McDonald's based on their sales, and the report for the last like 40 years or like 60 years has perfectly mirrored the economic status of the middle and lower class. So as the middle and lower class became more saw more fruits and
had more
thrived
spending
more,
money.
had more spending power, you saw that they had the McDonald's prices were lower and the McDonald's sales were up. Now McDonald's sales or costs are through the roof, and sales are ever you know,
every
sinking.
fast food place is seeing a decline pretty much.
Right. And it's telling why. I flip it to somebody that I imagine is experiencing something similar, but not articulated so specifically in the American lens. But I ask Silent, what are your thoughts on this whole deal?
It's very discouraging when you hear stats like this and when you focus on like inflation and how little we earn compared to how much our like dollars have been devalued. But I think the light at the end of the tunnel that a lot of people don't realize is eventually those boomers are going to have to pass, and they're going to have to pass their wealth away, right? They're going to have to give it to their kids. So the millennials will eventually get their turn in the next like couple of decades, you know. But at the same time, you also have to realize that they didn't have to wait for their parents to, you know, basically pass to afford a house or afford anything. They could literally just work any job and you could buy a house within 2 to 5 years.
That's true.
Literally,
Any job back then.
literally
would've been-
working at a grocery store, bagging groceries, and you could buy a house in 2 to 5 years.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's scary too, because that's something completely lost. Like minimum wage was supposed to be your minimum living age. Now, some would say it's not that even livable. But like also nowadays, those minimum wage jobs are like jobs like that aren't really supposed to be considered your lifetime career because they can't buy you things. Like back then, like if you had a job at McDonald's and worked your way up, like or whatever, like you make good living back then with the buying power of the dollar.
So I like Gladiator's comment here because, you know, he's like, it's true, but it's a cold analogy. I don't think it's cold. I think it's cold through today's class lens. Like you're looking at that occupation as less of a career and profession as nobody looked down the nose at the grocery bagger in 1940. In fact, the grocery bagger in 1940 was just as much as a championed member of your community as the teacher, the mayor. Like that person could have found themselves at city council meetings and been just as much as a respected member of the community as the local engineer or banker. And, you know, yes, there's always been classism and it's always kind of had that balance, but I think it feels like a colder analogy than it used to because Alaska cold. But no, I think it's a colder analogy. It feels colder than it really is because there's such a disparaging gap between those types of careers. Like if I were to say a mechanic, it would trigger a feeling. The truth is it should never take away from the severe value of a mechanic. If me and Doug are driving home from a golf store in the middle of the night on the freeway and a deer jumps out of nowhere and levels me, like it was so funny seeing a Challenger just totally disassembled in this dude's garage. And I'm sitting here like, I wouldn't know. He's like, you got to do the day. And I'm like, dude, I wouldn't know where to begin. Like nothing. And that's a lost art, a lost value. And because there isn't a market scheme that's dumping money on them like they used to, doesn't mean that they should lose the respect that they kind of naturally are simply because of the class system. Free meat.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, the social contract used to be if you contributed to society for 40 hours a week, you were afforded a good living. That's not the case anymore, unfortunately. That's really what it is. That's the reality that millennials and Gen Z have to live with now, is that you need 40 hours to not just live, but to just pay some of your bills.
Right.
And then there's another 40 hours that you have to give up as well. You know, you basically need 2 jobs in order to achieve the same purchasing power that our parents and grandparents had with one job.
I mean, I really want to double down on a point you just made there. And it's probably the most important point. It's if you want my dad is a middle-class engineer. What he was able to supply his children, his kin, and his bride, what he was able to provide them would require 2 people today. My mom, increasingly as I graduated college, well, how about you go back part-time, pick up a couple extra. And so my mom, who was for us to keep the comfort that we had when she was a stay-home mom taking care of 2 kids, for us to keep it a decade later, admittedly, pick up a part-time gig, do a little bit here, there, whatever. And now for me to meet my dad's standard, and maybe that's a whole purpose of the system, the mechanism itself, but again, as we've talked in the past about destroying or attacking or dismantling the homestead, like you've now made it. If you choose to have the strongest possible homestead by having a full-time mother, you have prevented the ability to deliver what a single working household in 1980, 1990 was able to provide.
So my buddy who is married and has 2 kids, they really want he really wants his wife to quit her job and like stay home with the kids because the daycare costs are insane and like it's hard, like because she works late and he gets out earlier, so like he's stuck with the kids sometimes and stuff. But they just can't make it work because like even though he has a good job and makes good money and has good insurance, the cost of the house and maintaining a house and, you know, having 2 kids in this current cost of society, they can't afford to not have her work right now.
Can I attack another point? And I know it's one that we are supposed to avoid, especially when the mechanism wants to invest, I think, $1 trillion in the IRS or whatever it is. But you know, stay in my lane. I know, but I can't help it when Gladiator makes a point like, 3 jobs, then the tax hit you. It's like we avoided this being a main topic because we didn't want our video getting lost in the millions of other people that are going to be talking about it. But it's like the biggest hurricane our country's ever seen is on its way tomorrow. And, Katrina was like 400 and some miles in diameter, and this is over 800 miles in diameter.
It was like Cat 5 at one point, I think they were saying. And it's going to be Cat 4 possibly when it hits.
I think you got it flipped, right?
Or maybe I do. I don't know, but they're talking about it possibly being a Category 5, which is pretty severe.
Exactly.
So
not a Category 4, Category 5.
Yeah.
Which would be very severe. And that being said, it's disenfranchising. It's disheartening when a whole coastline of your country gets obliterated and the aid is slow, it's hesitant, it's resistant. Upon them getting crushed again now with the biggest hurricane it's going to see, it's going to just obliterate them. How long is action going to take everything else? The sad part is, in a tribe of 350 million people, let's say 160 million working people, those that are working, that income is being taxed and being fed back into the system. There's so much money. And I get it. There's also so much that needs to be paid for, right? Like you don't have the biggest military in the world and in human existence on happenstance. So I say that because if we have all this money and you can rebuild this overnight, you have so much money, it's magic money. You can make magic happen, but instead you throw it to your cronies in Ukraine. You throw it to your cronies in Israel. You throw it to your cronies in China. You throw it and Pakistan, gender studies in Pakistan. You can build a wall in Saudi Arabia, but you can't build a wall here. That's racist. So when I see what you're doing with my money, like a comment like this, I don't know, immediately gets my attention to make the point, and the comment or the one it moved. Taxes.
Well, I was reading something that like, with like the current cleanup in like North Carolina and all that from the last hurricane, like wildfires going on and all that, and like the current like cleanup from the last hurricane that like even in Florida, I read an article that said like FEMA only has like 10% of its like force available to respond to this one. And like you just said, this is the biggest one. This is going to do a lot of damage. And FEMA has like no resources to really throw at it after this one. I was reading, like they said they have 10% of their force available because of the cleanup from the hurricane and stuff out west. Like it mentioned wildfires and like something else. And so, and floods from the last hurricane too, and all that. So it's like,
it's just a silly dilemma. because, you know, your boomer dad's going to get mad at you because you're like, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to save that $100. I'm going to put that $100 towards YouTube promotions because I'm trying to build something here and I'm looking at a disenfranchised, aggravating world around me. Okay. If you get too lost in that emotion, you'll have nothing. And guess what? Do we have less than our boomer parents? Yeah. The system's nowhere near as good as it was. That means we've got some work. And for those of us that have passions, commitments, and drive, we'll make it happen. Don't worry, sit back as you do. We'll make it happen for you. But I say that because even though it's less than our boomer parents, less is still better than nothing. And so if you get too entrenched with that feeling of like, it's all screwed, it's all nothing, I'm just throwing my money away, well then don't come to me to carry you and supply you food for that night because you took the easy route. Sometimes, yes, a blunt is a lot more easy and nice than having to go work today. But you can't expect me to fund that for you next week when you didn't show up to work this week and I did. Let's get to rapping thoughts. Silent, what are your rapping thoughts?
Essentially, this modern world has forced you to have multiple streams of income in order to afford a middle-class life, which was afforded by one income with our dads and our granddads. And I think the best way to do this is to either just adapt or, like I said, you could just wait for the boomers to die. And eventually, once the wealth is passed down, then maybe our wages will keep up with inflation and catch up. Because right now the boomers are just hoarding the wealth, and I understand why they are. Like, I get it, because they had it on easy mode. They literally could have bought a house almost every couple of years of them working any job for 3 to 4 decades. And so a lot of them did do a lot of hoarding, and until they, you know, pass and inherit away their wealth, that's just how it's going to be. You either adapt to it or you just wait until, you know, they pass and they inherit their wealth.
I could like
well,
that.
That's he mentioned like 3 or 4 years that made me think like the days of you working at one company your whole career is pretty much dead because you're leaving to try and find where you can get better pay or better benefits. And like sometimes you might be able to take that to your current company, but like half the time, like you're moving because you're going to get better. You're going to get better stuff somewhere else. Like no one's working at the same place their whole career anymore. I like my company. I would like to. Do I think I'll be able to? I don't know. Like, you know, we'll have to see how the pay and the company structure, like, you know, things are different in that respect now. You can't even also rely on your company for 30, 40 years like you used to.
That's it too. We've become more expendable. We've become more of a pawn to the job. And you're going to expect me to be as dedicated as I was when now you're less dedicated to me, but my dedication was supposed to stay constant. No, the workforce changed. I like that point. I like that's why, you know, you don't see us holding down a single job as much as we used to. But,
especially in big tech too, right? Like there's a lot of talent stealing happening in big tech. Like if you work at Google, like Amazon will give you 50 grand more to come do the same job for Amazon, you know? And then why wouldn't you switch for 50 grand?
Well, but then that's where these non-compete clauses come in, right?
Yes.
So they snatch a young 18-year-old up and they go, sign this non-compete clause. We're gonna launch pad your career. Then when they got you locked in and you can't go somewhere else, they treat you like dog and they don't really pay out to you. And now you're stuck because you really can't stay within that same field. And you either need to deal with these non-compete clauses or because that's a podcast all in
a whole different topic. Yeah.
But kind of wrapping it all together here. I like Silent's point. They had it good. They really did have it good. The sad takeaway is they did nothing with it. And you're looking at a generation of narcissists, and that's the inevitable symptom to the generation that preceded them, right? If you've got a generation of immigrants that needed to, you know, fight to prove themselves. I mean, I can list 5 white races that were persecuted at the time, like the Irish, the Italian. You've got people that now are told they have privilege, but at that time truly did not and had to work to make
Built
their
America.
way.
They built
They
America.
built
They built
America.
a living.
So life wasn't easy for them. They were taken advantage of, and they didn't have legal codes and parameters to create safe working environments. So yeah, the boomer got a check for the lung disease that their father developed in the harsh working condition that they also never had to experience. And when this whole thing comes full circle, you see that the boomers were, going back to the narcissistic piece, it's not their fault. It's the symptom of a generation of scrapers and people that were dragged through it,
and like all the post-war stuff too, like post-World War II.
Again, you're living through a terrible time, and you're living through a war. You're struggling, and now you finally have stability, some financial ground beneath you. So that's the generation that we were told we were spoiled. No. It was the boomers. They were given everything. They were given a booming, strong economy, and they were given free opportunities that they could exploit. And with it, they bought themselves vacations, beach houses, flat screen TVs, beer, and they're not continuing to build, right? So look at all the politicians that are running the joint now. This is a whole group of bigwigs and old folk that really were handed the reins of an already great created city and system. And what they do, they just kept it alive long enough so they could suck it dry. So we need to be the generation, unfortunately, that builds it again. We got to build back better. We got to try it all again. We got to build something new. And I guess that'll be my wrapping thought is, do we have less than them? Sure. But at the same time, it's still, we got something. And for those that, the go-getters, those that make things happen, here's your opportunity. This is the new frontier. Welcome to the Wild Wild West. If you want to manifest destiny and create a whole new future for yourself, this is your opportunity. This is the beauty of the human race, technology, and evolution. Life always finds its way. And so even in a crippling authoritarian system, you could be a part of the mechanism, like the Rethink Tank, that navigates that whole thing and rises above it. Or you could sit back and wait for us to do it for you, because we're going to do it anyway. Should we take it to the last and final topic?
I think you nailed it at the end there, Alex.
All right. Last topic here. The largest U.S. water utility was hit by a cyber attack. This is pretty crazy. The largest water and wastewater utility company in the United States was hit by a cyber attack, forcing it to temporarily pause billing for its customers. The company announced this past Monday. American Water became informed of unauthorized activity in its computer networks and systems this past Thursday, and the company said in a press release that the New Jersey-based company determined the activity was due to a cybersecurity incident, prompting it to disconnect or deactivate certain systems. This included shutting down the company's portal used to bill customers, while its call center has limited functionality. The company says it is working diligently to get this disconnected system back online, while noting the third-party investigation is going on by cybersecurity professionals, and it could take some time. American Water, which serves an estimated 14 million people across 14 states, said it also notified law enforcement and is cooperating with its investigation. The utility company's water and wastewater facility and operations are not believed to have been negatively affected by the cybersecurity attack, and the water remains safe to drink, according to the company. I close it with this. The company manages an estimated 540 groundwater treatment plants across 14 states. Those states include California, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Missouri, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia.
Woo, not Ohio.
Not Ohio. Which is sad because Michigan still has poisonous drinking water, and we're in a tribe of 350 million people, Doug, and damn it, we should care about everybody. You should be ashamed.
I should be, but I'm happy I have water. I mean, I'm sorry.
I mean, do we have water with all the fluoride in it anymore? Does it make any difference? I love that the studies coming out now are like, okay, admittedly, there might be too much
I sent
fluoride.
you an article on that because that's one of your favorite things you love to mention is fluoride in the water.
Well, 'cause guess what? Wait, bring the camera back here. Do you see? I got some pearly ass whites. Ding. Get that glisten. My shiny teeth that sparkle. Da, da, ba, da, da, da. Yeah. I don't need any more fluoride. And I'll admit, I do carry around a gallon jug with me at work. So I do drink a lot of water. All of that water having a lot of fluoride in it. I do use a filter, but we know that the filters are not that good with the fluoride. But like, I don't need that much fluoride. My teeth are fine.
Okay. You feel very like self-conscious about your teeth or something. You clearly want me to say they're pearly white. Okay, Alex, they're pearly white. All right, continue.
No, that's far from the point. What I'm fishing for is if the entire government's position is we need to overflood your water with fluoride for the sake of keeping your teeth white, ignoring all the science as you so proudly broadcast that you send me. If the science is indicating that it's messing with their brains now and you're putting too much, then I will double down on emphasizing that I don't need my teeth any whiter. Like, I'm fine.
Well, think about the thing with fluoride. We're going to go down the fluoride talk. So when you go to the dentist and they give you fluoride, which I actually haven't gotten in a while. As a kid, they did it every time, though. I don't know. Now it's every once in a while they'll give it at the end of a point. But, like, they give you that much, like, in a cup. Now, how much tap water are we drinking in our lives? That has to be more fluoride than we would ever need. Because if they're giving you that much at the dentist of just fluoride, how much are we drinking in our water in our whole lifetime?
Right. Think about that. And if that's like the medicinal application is that little bit, and you're drinking it, you're supposed to have a gallon of water a day at least, and you're cycling through plenty of it. I mean, how big of an issue are you creating? But like Doug reminding me, we have gotten off the path. Keeping it grounded with the cyber attack. What's crazy is, one, they can't confirm that it has definitely or not impacted the water. They're like, keep drinking it until your grandma passes out. If so, call us. We might have a problem.
I mean, they should still be able to test the water. You don't how hard is it to get a portable test kit that doesn't need your computer system?
Yeah, well, again, it probably gets to like our evolution has gotten so far. We've lost the ability to manually do so many of these things that they're like, the computer doesn't work. We don't know we've lost how to proceed from here. But it is interesting. All the billing is suspended. I imagine they're able to continue the calculation and monitoring of that billing to catch up with it after it gets turned back on. But is this at all impacting? I mean, I imagine not, because they're autonomous meters off the spout at your house. So it's not that that's really affected by the electricity, the turning systems off. But really all it is the computer systems. What's curious is the unauthorized activity in its computer networks. I'm very curious what that looks like. Like, was it trying to steal passwords? Like, what could they possibly be doing to the water beyond
trying to
shut it off?
Yeah, that's like, because the information on the customers, there's places that a skilled person could get more and better information than from, because like maybe the water you're in a house of 5 people. The water could be in just one of those people's names. So you're only going to get that one person's information. If you want actual information on all these people, there are better places. So I doubt they were going for customer information, like, because there would be better places. unless they were just having fun with it or something, but like it had to have been like, let's see if we can shut down the water to all these places.
Is there value to having social security numbers associated with accounts? Because maybe if you're in the pursuit of stealing identities, then if you get a list of accounts associated with a social security number.
Well, that's true. But like, again, if they want social security numbers, all 5 people in your house's socials are probably somewhere that you could get all in one go versus the one person whose water is in their name at that residence. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what they wanted, there are probably better places to get more.
That's a great point. That's a great point too. I don't know. Silent, what do you make of this?
I think a lot of the fluoride in the water is overkill because essentially most
We're back on this subject.
just to continue that. Most of our toothpaste have fluoride, and so fluoride in the water is pointless. Anyways, to the hackers hacking the water plant, there's a lot of very ancient government infrastructure that's still running like Windows XP and Windows 2000.
Our
and
nuclear
and
submarines run off of Windows XP.
Old, outdated software, right? So I think what this attack kind of spotlights is that a lot of this infrastructure needs to be upgraded. A lot of it needs to be security patched. A lot of it needs to be put with the latest and greatest software and security. Because clearly, if someone is able to go enough to where they can almost shut it down, like then that's just a surface level threat, right? Thankfully, they weren't able to. No one was hurt. No infrastructure was destroyed. But it's not a matter of if, just a matter of when, and it will happen. Like, it's eventually going to happen. And I think that's why it's very important for the government to step in and, no matter what it costs us, go in and upgrade everything when it comes to software and even hardware in a lot of cases too.
Well, and the hard part too is everything is connected nowadays too. Everything is connected. So like, we're gone are the days where you're completely isolated. Like, even our nuclear power plants, I don't think are completely isolated anymore. Like, they're connected to some government network that is scary to think. Like everything, like things that were important used to be isolated. Now with the network and the internet to try and speed everything up and make things easier, it's all connected, and that's kind of scary too.
Silent, you want to continue?
Yeah, and just like exactly what I said, like the fact that everything is so connected just shows the urgency and speed in which we need to upgrade this infrastructure, because it's a matter of like, okay, now it's just some kids or some hacker or some sort of person who's like who's a white hat just having fun and he's bored and he's just like, haha, let me just hack government infrastructure. But when does it become, oh my God, okay, now we're going to attack, the US, but let's not do it, through tanks and airplanes and submarines. Let's just do it to, oh yeah, we'll just turn off their water because they're running old software that we have exploits to like 10 years ago. And there's a worm just sitting there, and a Trojan horse virus just sitting there waiting for me to hit enter. And then I could just turn off the whole plant. And I think that's where it becomes like a matter of national security, and the government definitely needs to spend more time and money upgrading all of this infrastructure, because it's eventually going to get attacked in a serious manner. Like, whether we love it or hate it, it's going to happen.
Well, and that's the thing. As long as you keep it vulnerable, it's going to be a target. Whether or not somebody acts upon it, like, do you want to sit around and wait for the Batman villain to seize the opportunity? Or do you want to close the window of opportunity? So even if there is a Batman, like, what are we doing waiting for the villain to take advantage of these things? I mean, why are we sitting around thinking that maybe the Baltimore situation could have been a cyber attack, but are not having very real conversations about whether or not that actually is the case? And if so, how to prevent it? What do we need to do? Like, if I'm another neighboring type of company similar to that, or using similar systems or networkings, help me. Yeah. I want to stop that from happening again.
Hopefully that'll be like a wake-up call to them. But then, like, you're talking about our infrastructure and stuff. What is it, like 90% of the worldwide traffic is like sent through underwater cables, which are just completely vulnerable. And like half the time when those get hurt, they're from like ships dropping their anchor in the waters. Like, and that's just like that. Like, you know, if someone wants to actually hack into the system or hack stuff, tap into one of those. And like, that's something we got to worry about for national security too, is like that so much of our traffic goes through open cables.
And again, I mean, there's so much to that. The whole internet, the fact that me and Silent are able to, he's not even in the same country, and we're able to connect with people across the pond in Europe. And it's because there's giant cables like this big around going through the center of the ocean. And it's been decades, many, many decades since those were laid. So it's like, you don't think those are taking wear and tear in the ocean of all places? But we know that our grid is faulty. We know that our water system's faulty or at risk now. We know that our food supply is at risk or vulnerable when we have union mob bosses out here threatening us like we're hostages. It's almost like we're seeing all the necessary avenues or resources for life, all the necessary resources for life and the avenues to which they get them to you are vulnerable for attack. And Silent raises the greatest point. It's that infrastructure is incredibly outdated. And again, if gender study classes in Pakistan's getting $50 million and not the water supply system, not the electrical grid, not the ports across the city,
not the people in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, still poisonous water. I think they'd happily take this fluoride in spoonfuls over poisonous water, and yet that's how our allocation is spent. So I don't know. Let's start landing this plane and bringing her full circle. Silent, do you have any other wrapping thoughts as we close out the whole point here?
Just to finish off of like what you guys were saying, it's just a matter of allocating the right resources into upgrading this infrastructure. Like, we clearly have the money, right? Like, our countries spend a lot of money, like you said, on literally gender studies in Pakistan, and we have the money. Like, the money's there. It's just a matter of redirecting it and allocating it to the right places and sorting out this infrastructure mess, because it's a mess right now. It's very outdated and it really needs to be upgraded ASAP.
I can appreciate that. Doug, what are your wrapping thoughts?
It's pretty scary that so much of our infrastructure is outdated and open to attacks like this. I mean, this isn't the first hack on some sort of government or public system. Certainly won't be the last, but like, when are we gonna like make sure it is the last?
Right. And piggybacking off of that, it's not the first. It's not going to be the last. And the biggest question presented is, what are we doing to deter or prevent this? And the reality is nothing in the public's eye. Now, we know the agencies and intelligence have to be working diligently to, effectuate these problems. But here's what we experience. A 3-letter agency is going to master these problems like cyber attacks. They're going to master defenses to them, not for us. like you got to remember, they're a separate entity from us and they're kind of adverse to us. So the sad part is they're developing these resources, these skills, these technologies, and it's not truly to our benefit. And that's why they don't really
They're using it to protect their top secret stuff, but not our national infrastructure.
And that's why they're finding it not necessarily, that's why it's not really necessary to have to tell you about these developments and make it clear to the public's eye, because it ain't for you. So that all being said, I want to bring it back to one of the comments here. Silent, I'm going to bring you in because I think you're truly the best set to make a comment here. Last comment, just closing it out, looking at Brad Richardson. Thoughts on Aiden Ross offering Kick streamers to do IRL live streaming of surviving Hurricane Milton? I disagree with anyone messing with Mother Nature like that. This is going to be a historic storm. I don't know. What are your thoughts? That's a great question.
Wait, someone is going to be live streaming the storm down there? Is that what they said?
Aiden Ross is. What do you got, Marcus? Real quick. Marcus is itching.
I feel like
Keep the microphone.
Oh, I feel like for the content wise, it will be amazing, but to risk someone's life like that is out like beyond insane. Like they would have to offer me like at least a lifetime support for me to do that for them.
Well,
But they're not getting
you're risking your life.
Yeah, I'm literally risking
Yeah.
my life. But at the same time, like you gotta really think about it. Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, and I Show Speed, they're all the same three people. They will do dumb stuff just for the content and for the people.
I mean, that's a lot of the market. So he was itching to jump in. Silent being the on deck,
The live streamer expert.
or what would we call him? The onboard kick expert.
Kickspert.
The kickspert. What's your position on this?
I met Aiden Ross a couple weeks ago. He's a real cool guy, and I must say, come on, Aiden, 30 G's. At least give someone 300 G's or maybe 3 million, because we know he's got it, right? If someone is gonna put their life and literally face
I love that point right there.
a high category hurricane that will literally destroy lives,
I'd do it for $1 million.
At least give him some life-changing money, right? Because 30 grand is good money. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money, but it's not life-changing money. You know,
that will cover your medical expenses from the injuries you incur.
Hold on. Can we agree? The sick element to this whole thing is, let me get this straight. Aiden Ross is offering $30,000 for somebody to stream surviving the hurricane.
Yes.
Okay. So what is he paying $30,000 for? It's not like he's asking, like for the Rethink Tank. It would be necessary for me to supply you a lifetime salary if you do this thing and I reap the benefit, right? Like if you make a video, not live, and then give it to me to edit and post on the Rethink Tank, now I really do owe you because I'm the beneficiary of what you're doing. But truthfully, what you're seeing is a little bit sicker. And I say that, in jest, it's still fun, but it is kind of sick because you're looking at the wealthy. You brought up Kai Cenat, but really this one's Aiden Ross. You're looking at a rich kid with money, and he's sitting back going, I got 30 grand is like $20 to me. I'd pay $20 to watch some idiot risk their life. And so what is he paying $30,000 for? This isn't some business transaction where it's like I'm making an investment into like future profits and benefits. This is like a very expensive movie to me, to where I can sit back and laugh at the expense of your wavering life.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Also, realistically speaking, by the way, from a technical standpoint, you're not even going to have cell phone signal out there anyways.
That's what I was just thinking. Like
most
the power
likely
of the storm.
that storm is going to knock down the cell towers. Most likely.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was
so
thinking.
You won't even be able to
send it.
You won't even be able
What
to
if he's
stream
like,
it,
what is that called? Where you're like piggybacking your cellular
piggybacking? I think that's literally
no, it isn't. It is not. When you're like connecting your phone to like
you mean hotspot?
Someone else's phone.
Hotspot? Yeah, hotspot.
How funny would it be if you had like a satellite hotspot? Then like you really could bunker down with this big satellite phone, hotspot to it, and make Aiden Ross laugh with his popcorn.
I got two things with that. One, I don't know if satellite phones have hotspot capability.
They don't, Doug.
Second of all, that storm is going to be probably so much cloud cover.
Hold on, guys. And this is why we need Ricky on a regular basis. Ricky, what about Starlink?
Yes.
I wonder if it'll work through the storm. I do wonder.
It's satellite.
But the clouds and the storm isn't going to be able to get through.
Here's the thing with Starlink. Starlink is fast, but it's not fast to live stream off of because it's not stable.
Whoa. Do you think Aiden Ross is going to be upset that there's a lag as the guy risks his life?
Plus, also, Ukraine's using Starlink to bomb Russia. It must be good enough for that. It's good enough to stream.
Right.
I feel like if I was supposed to do it for real, I would have to be in a bunker. Like, at least a bunker. Give me a bunker, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have fun doing it too. Like, I'll at least try to entertain the people if I'm in a bunker. If I'm in a bunker, I'll be just like entertaining people as much as I can. But if I'm just like trying to survive for the fitness, no, I'm not fighting against Mother Nature like that.
Well, and it depends where he wants the person to be for the storm. Like if you are in Sarasota, Lombo Key, that's directly where it's hitting. Like that's insane to expect anyone to sit. Like what if you're more inland, you're getting a little more of like once it's kind of become more of a tropical storm or whatever after it's hit land, that's different. So like if he's wanting someone to be like literally in Longboat Key, in Sarasota, in Tampa, like Bradenton, that area, that's insane. Because that's directly where it's coming. Like that's where it's going to be the like 15-foot storm surge they're talking about.
But you gotta really think about it. Aiden Ross ain't going little. Like all these big time streamers, they don't go little no more. They go up big and high, reaching
That's
for
true.
the clouds.
And you know what's also a piece to that is 30,000 doesn't sound like a lot. That is an annual salary for many people. Yeah. And I want to just acknowledge that, you know, when it comes to contract law, you don't actually need to write things down for an advertisement to be considered a contract. And so if enough of the necessary terms are present, one could find a contract. And, you know, there's situations to where if somebody does partial performance, that really is also signing a contract. Like they've committed to the contract that you've offered. And at that point, they've accepted. And because they've already partially performed, you're forcefully accepting, so or your offer is forcefully accepted.
So you're saying, let's say Joe Schmo in Tampa right now just stayed and started filming without even talking to this person, that's considered acceptance.
If he broadcasted it to everybody and then suggests that any viewer that survives this storm, and again, the offer being so extreme that like if partial performance is so extreme and they complete partial performance,
like they only film a day's worth
but again,
because of the storm,
you're still keeping the theory in a box. Get out of the box and let me get to the point.
I feel like
this can go down even bigger. It's not just what he's committed to one person. It's what he's committed to the people. So what if 50,000 people now risk their lives and out of the 50,000, 20,000 survive? Now you've got somebody with an asterisk. You've really killed 30,000 people in a weird way. But then on top of it, you now owe $30,000 to 20,000 people. Wow, that money adds up fast.
That's a great point. And that's your law. That's your law degree coming into use right there. Because I wouldn't have known that. I would have thought someone would have had to literally reply to him, been like, I'll take this. You're just basically saying because he posted it out there, because he's public, if X amount of people decide and stay and record, but then are only able to record a day's worth, they tried. Like that's even enough to make a contract. You're saying.
Well, partial performance. And if partial performance is so detrimental, right? I detrimentally relied on this, then you have to, it's kind of like let me give you an example. If it's like building a house, and if it's like, if you put the electrical in my house, I'll pay you $40,000. If I said that to you and then you put in the electrical, there's a real claim to me now needing to pay you $40,000. Now, this is where lawyers get in, because if you didn't meet my satisfaction, like how close to that standard did you get? If it's a shoddy job, then you really didn't meet performance. You just did a thing. You just did a job. You may have even trespassed.
But is it different because he posted it on social media to all of his followers? Is that
can we bring it back to one of the most noted or quoted legal advertisements in this realm? It's when Pepsi advertised for
the Harrier jet.
I
love that documentary on Netflix too.
Right. It's a great story. And what you saw is the legal precedent get curbed just a little bit out from rightness to save a corporation, but it still kind of stayed true to it. Now, I know you're itching, Marcus, but before we get too lost in the weeds, I'm glad we still got Brad Richardson joining us, because this seems like an interesting comment to follow up with. I'm currently residing in the disaster zone of the Western North Carolina area, which are currently still portions without power, phone cell, and I'm currently using what Elon Musk sent to the region because he cares about us more than the people that take our money every 2 weeks with our paychecks. Following up, they've deployed Starlink drones, and I picked up a Starlink temp router we use until the area is restored. Now, here's what's great about
That's
drones.
pretty cool.
And here's what's great about drones in a billion, if not $1 trillion company is they're not expendable, but they're expendable. So we can think about what it required to create a network in Cleveland here, right? They had to take months of development, construction. They had to tear out trees and build networking. They had to physically build it. Whereas now, instantaneously, with a fleet of drones, I can create a network. Now, let's say the going gets tough. Shit starts flying everywhere. I could pull those drones out before they get thrown out of, into destruction and could potentially be reused. But going back to my point, to a trillion or billion-dollar company, they're not expendable, but they're expendable. And we could keep a faux network in an area that's totally distraught and destroyed and let them get thrown amok. Like, what's a few more drones in the destruction of the entire community's homes? And then instantly the next day, while everybody's trying to catch their bearings, what the hell? They get their shit together and figure out who's still counting heads. It makes it a lot easier coming back to Zuckerberg's. We thought it was silly in COVID and all the other tragedies when it was like so-and-so reported they're safe in the Las Vegas situation. Well, that's a beautiful thing if you can have an Elon Musk throw up a phone network and you can count who's reporting safety and contact each other. Report to the outside. Call Big Daddy Musk for more resources because he seems to be the only one answering the call. I don't know. Sion, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think honestly the whole thing is just crazy, and for Aiden to say it is wild. And as you said, it's gonna encourage a lot of people because Aiden has a lot of influence, right? He's one of the biggest streamers in the world. So there's probably going to be a lot of people that are literally going to stay behind during a deadly hurricane where they should have evacuated and they should have probably left the city or the state where the hurricane is going to hit. And they're going to try to make that 30,000 because there's always going to be enough people that just have no common sense and are very desperate for cash, whether it be $2 grand, $3 grand, 30 grand, 300 grand. It doesn't matter. They just want cash. And they'll do stupid shit for it.
I'm going to be interested to see if people actually took him up on this. And now out here in your side of it, how many people took him up on it?
He will. This is so extreme that he actually should be shaking in his boots that people aren't that stupid. But sadly, they are. A Steve-O made a career out of being that guy.
The Jackass crew.
So you're encouraging the people that would do it, and they will do it. So I'd be weary about, who that calls upon, and there will be people who take advantage of that. So it's just going to be curious to see how many of people that pays out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I actually now want to follow this. How many people are going to do it? And is he going to pay him out? And then are people going to want to sue him for that money because he publicly posted it? And then it goes into your whole territory of law you were talking about.
Exactly.
I like that.
Marcus,
angle.
you got something?
I actually forgot what I was gonna say earlier, but on Rick's comment, I don't think the government can't charge them if they sign a contract for real. So if people sign a contract, they can't sue Aiden Ross or none. That's the same way with AMP and all of them. So
yeah, that's how he got his boxing event, right? When he did his boxing event,
that's how.
People would just sign a waiver,
sign the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't force them, but he asked them to sign it so they can't sue him. So
yeah, exactly.
It's like going to a Mr. Beast video too. You're literally working with him for him to make his content because he got his own website for you to join his videos or something.
Right.
So you have to sign a contract. So people can't sue content creators because they always have a contract with them.
So the Mr. Beast thing is different only because he's exploiting their employee relationship. And okay, so Ricky's got the comment here, and it's that, can the government charge him for endangering people's lives? And there really isn't a charge there that the government would be able to bring about,
because they are willingly staying, like, right, like he didn't
well,
force
so here's where
anyone.
it's not that the government, absolves itself of any involvement here. The way it looks is they're not charging this person with a criminal charge. This is where the civil side of law clashes with criminal law, and there isn't a crime necessarily here, unless, I don't know if you've seen McCaney Manor. Like, yes, you signed a contract to go into this dude's backyard and get the pulp beat out of you. But then at the same point, when physical abuse, you can't sign away physical abuse, assault, or death to a certain degree. Like, you could sign a waiver and Dana White can have a league where you get slapped across the face, but you can't create a league where, I let you beat me to oblivion. But again, that's the UFC. See that this is like a fine line, because it'd be illegal if I had a suicide assistant. That was a trigger, but like assistant company, where like in Sweden and all these other countries, they'll create these programs where you could pay. Well, that's something you can't legally contract for here in America. So where this gets involved, where the government gets involved, it isn't where they would bring about a criminal charge against him. It would be in the civil side of things, whether it's he owes them damages, right? Like, you're the reason, but for this illegal offer, I would not have stayed and lost my leg. Well, then you owe me civil damages for the cost of my leg. So this isn't going to find itself in the criminal realm, but he isn't completely absolved of it in a place where it still finds its head in the civil sector.
Wasn't our original topic the water hack for this topic?
No, this we closed the whole episode out, and Brad Richardson.
That's what I thought. I was like trying to think. I'm like, how did we get from our topic to this? And I was like, that's right. That was a good topic too, though. The dude wanted, like, we could have spent a while talking about that. That was interesting. Your whole law part was
well, and so for that all being said, cheers to Brad Richardson and the rest of the Americans that are holding down the fort and trying to keep people safe. Be safe out there, because I know we've got a crazy time ahead of us, and unfortunately, the government isn't assisting us. Just the independent civil servants.
I loved going to Asheville, visiting all the breweries and stuff there, and like I heard they got destroyed by that last hurricane.
Crazy story, valuable to this conversation. It wouldn't have been the same. Doug's been to Asheville. So
I love Asheville.
Take that one to the
bank.
bank.
I heard they got hit hard. It's sad.
But yeah, for real. Shout out Brad Richardson. We go live every Sunday. Yeah, that's it. We go live every Tuesday and every Sunday, so be sure to join us. For those that are still lingering, this little bit we're doing right here, we're finally getting to a point where we're going to be able to weave in advertising into the show. And so I am going to be into this little bit here, doing a faux ad read that I can send to some of our potential sponsors, because, hey, we're finally doing things here. So I'm just taking a quick second here to get the puffs up. Can I do boom? Get the teleprompter. Let me drink some water. I want to stand. Hey there, snack lovers. Are you tired of boring snacks that leave you feeling, well, snackless? Introducing the latest craze sweeping the nation, Snacktastic Puffs, the only snack that's a little cheesy and a lot nutty. That's right, Snacktastic Puffs are not just your average snack. They're puffed with flavor and popped with fun. Perfect for parties, movie nights, or when you just need to avoid doing laundry for a few more hours. But wait, Order now, and you'll get our Snacktastic Challenge Kit. Can you eat a whole bag without laughing? Spoiler alert, you probably can't. These puffs are so delicious, you'll be giggling between bites. And for a limited time only, we're throwing in our exclusive Snacktastic Silly Hat. Yes, you heard that right. Wear it while snacking for an extra dose of fun and to confuse your pets. So, whether you're binging your favorite show or just trying to avoid that awkward family chat, Snacktastic Puffs have got your back. Because why snack normal when you can snack Snacktastic? Grab yours today by calling 1-800-PUFFS or visit snacktasticpuffs.com. That's SNACKTASTICC, where every crunch is an adventure. Snacktastic Puffs. Get ready to puff up your day one bite at a time. So that all being said, thanks for everybody that has been surviving all the craziness with us, tolerating it, and we've gone through quite an evolution, and it's been a great time. So, guys, catch you next time. Oh, before we lose you, we got our Sunday show. Wait, bring back Silent. Silent, where can they find you?
Live every single day at kick.com/silentdestroyer. Thanks for having me, guys, as always.
Hey, love it, love it, love it. So, guys, like I said, we've got a live show on Sundays. Crazy story is YouTube's been messing with us. We're getting strikes and just terminations left and right. Log in on Monday morning to find out, after all our great Sunday shows, it was canceled and the entire channel was terminated. Appealed it, and they just give me another whoopsie, sorry, we move on. That's just the story of life here. So be sure we're back. We have a channel. It was gone for a couple days, but it's back just in time for Sunday. So join us at 11 a.m. Eastern time for Rethink Actions. Kick back, have a couple laughs, have a cup of coffee, and have a little bit of a palate cleanser from all the deep thought and political stuff that we're always talking about. Get a break. Join us on Sundays. But then also on Sundays, I don't know if you're a football person. Hold on. It's just rolling Silent Destroyer. But also on Sundays, we got the Sunday Football Review following up after that at noon Eastern time. So as you tinker your fantasy football team and you want to get ready with all the updates for this upcoming week, be sure to join us at 9 live. Again, guys, thanking everybody in the comments, the Thinker and the Gladiator and Just Another Day TV and Brad, everybody. Remember, the beauty of going live is adding you and your element to the show. So be sure to jump into the comments and join us so we can add that extra element. But we go live each week. And if you're looking for where you can find all these different channels in one central place, you can find it at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. But otherwise, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.